If you're over 65 and it takes you longer to get up from a chair than it used to, if you feel winded walking up a single flight of stairs, if you've ever looked in the mirror and wondered where your strength went, this might be the most important video you watch this year. Because what I'm about to show you isn't another exercise routine or expensive supplement. It's one simple thing you can add to your morning coffee, something that costs less than 50 cents a day, that can actually reverse muscle loss in seniors.
Let me paint a picture for you. Last month, my 68-year-old patient, Robert, called me at 2 a.m. from the emergency room. He'd fallen getting out of bed to use the bathroom, not because he tripped over something, not because it was dark, but because his legs simply gave out. Robert used to be a marathon runner. He'd completed 12 marathons by age 60, but over the past 5 years, he watched helplessly as his body betrayed him. First, he couldn't run anymore. Then walking became difficult. Finally, even standing up became a struggle. The ER doctor told Robert what millions of seniors hear every day. It's just part of getting older. But here's what that doctor didn't tell Robert, and what most people over 65 never learn. This isn't just aging. This is a medical condition called sarcopenia, and it's stealing your strength faster than you realize.
After age 60, you lose 3 to 8% of your muscle mass every single decade. That doesn't sound like much, right? But let me put this in perspective. By age 80, you could lose up to 40% of your muscle mass. That's like your body literally eating itself alive. And here's the terrifying part. Most people do want to realize it's happening until it's almost too late. Hold on. Before I tell you the solution, let me share something that will shock you. A recent study followed 3,000 adults over 65 for 5 years. The people who lost the most muscle mass had a 200% higher risk of dying from an NY cause. That's not a typo. Okay. Muscle loss doesn't just make you weak, it makes you vulnerable to everything. Heart disease, diabetes, even infections. But the people who maintained their muscle, they lived longer, stayed independent, and enjoyed life well into their 80s and 90s. So what's really happening inside your body? Why do some people stay strong while others waste away? It comes down to something called anabolic resistance. Let me explain this like I would to my own father. When you're young, eating protein is like sending a text message to your muscles. The message is clear: build, repair, grow. Your muscles get the message instantly and respond. But after 65, it's like your muscles have an old, broken phone. You can send the same message, but it barely gets through. The signal is weak, garbled, and often ignored completely. This is why your neighbor, Joe, can eat steak every night and still look frail. It's why your friend Margaret takes protein powder, but keeps getting weaker. The protein isn't the problem. The communication is broken. But what if I told you there's a way to fix that broken phone? What if there is a specific compound that can amplify the muscle-building signal so loud that even aging muscle cells coo unto know it? And what if you could add this compound to something you probably already drink every morning? Stay with me, because in the next 2 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what this compound is. But first, let me tell you why your morning coffee creates the perfect storm for muscle growth, and why most people are missing this opportunity every single day. Your morning coffee isn't just a caffeine delivery system. It's actually a metabolic weapon, if you know how to use it. When you wake up, your body is in what I call the muscle building window. You've been fasting for 8 to 10 hours. Your insulin is at rock bottom. Your growth hormone is naturally elevated. Your muscle cells are literally starving for the right signal. This is when your body is most responsive to muscle building nutrients. Not after lunch. Not before dinner. Right now, in those first 30 minutes after you wake up. But here's what most people do wrong. They drink their coffee with nothing else, missing this window completely. Or worse, they eat sugary cereal or toast, which slams the window shut with an insulin spike. The compound I'm talking about is called leucine. And before you think great, another amino acid I've never heard of. Let me tell you why leucine is different from everything else you've tried. Leucine is like the master key that unlocks your muscle-building machinery. While other amino acids are important, leucine is the trigger. It's the difference between knocking on the door and having the key to walk right in. Here is the science in simple terms. When you get enough leucine at one time, and this is critical, at one time, it activates something called the mTOR pathway. Think of mTOR as your body's muscle construction crew. When leucine shows up, it's like blowing the whistle that says, all hands on deck, time to build muscle. But here's the catch most people miss. You need what scientists call a threshold dose to flip the switch. That's 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine taken all at once, not spread throughout the day. Not with other amino acids competing for attention, all at once. To get that much leucine from food, you'd need to eat 6 whole eggs or an entire chicken breast for breakfast. Most 70-year-olds I know aren't downing a chicken breast at 7 a.m. This is where the coffee strategy becomes brilliant. Instead of forcing down massive amounts of protein, you simply add 3 grams of pure leucine powder to your morning coffee. It dissolves completely. It has no taste. And it delivers the muscle-building signal directly to your cells within 20 minutes. Let me walk you through my exact protocol. Step 1. Brew your regular coffee. Black, prefer red. Step 2. Add 1 level teaspoon of pharmaceutical-grade leucine powder. Step 3. Stir until dissolved. It works best in hot liquid. Step 4. Drink within 30 minutes of waking up. Step 5. Wait 45 minutes before eating breakfast. It's 5 simple steps that take less than 3 minutes but can change your life. Let me tell you about Frank, because his story shows just how powerful this simple change can be. Frank is 73. When he first came to see me, he needed help getting dressed. His wife had to cut his food because he didn't have the grip strength to use a knife. He'd given up golf, given up woodworking, given up most of the things that made him feel like himself. Frank's daughter brought him to me because she was worried. She said, "Dr. Mitchell, my dad is disappearing right in front of us." I put Frank on this exact leucine coffee protocol. No other changes, no gym membership, no special diet, just leucine in his morning coffee. After 2 weeks, Frank could button his own shirts. After a month, he was back to using regular utensils. After 3 months, he picked up his golf clubs for the first time in 2 years. But here's the part that made me emotional. Frank called me after 4 months and said, "Doc, yesterday I carried my wife's suitcase up 2 flights of stairs at the hotel. She cried because she thought those days were over. Now, let me show you why this works so well." A groundbreaking study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition tested this exact approach with adults over 65. One group got regular protein. The other group got leucine-enhanced nutrition. The results? The leucine group showed a 30% increase in muscle protein synthesis. That's the process your body uses to build new muscle tissue. But here's what really impressed the researchers. The leucine group didn't exercise more. They didn't eat more calories. They just gave their bodies the right signal at the right time. Another study followed 200 seniors for 6 months. Half used leucine supplementation, half didn't. The leucine group gained an average of 2.1 pounds of lean muscle mass. The control group lost 1.3 pounds. Think about that. The difference between gaining muscle and losing muscle was one simple change. But muscle building is just the beginning. When you preserve muscle mass after 65, you're actually rewiring your entire metabolism. Muscle tissue burns calories 24/7. Even while you sleep, muscle is burning 3 times more energy than fat tissue. This means when you build muscle, you're literally turning your body into a calorie-burning furnace. But it gets better. Muscle is also your body's glucose storage tank. You have more muscle, you have better blood sugar control. This means stable energy, clearer thinking, and protection against diabetes. I had a patient named Bill who started this protocol just to feel stronger. But after 6 weeks, something unexpected happened. His blood sugar readings dropped 40 points. His doctor was amazed and asked what he was doing differently. Now, I know some of you are thinking, "Dr. Mitchell, this sounds too simple. If it really worked, wouldn't everyone be doing it? That's exactly what my patient George said. He's 69, a retired engineer, and he's skeptical of everything. Said, "Doc, I've tried protein powders, vitamins, even expensive peptides. None of it worked. Why should this be different?" Here's what I told George, and what I'll tell you. Most supplements don't work because they ignore the threshold effect. They give you a little bit of everything instead of enough of the right thing. Leucine works because it's targeted, specific. It hits the exact biological pathway that controls muscle growth in exactly the right dose at exactly the right time. George tried it for 3 weeks. You know what he told me? "Cock, I hate to admit it, but you were right. I feel stronger than I have in years." Here's something that might surprise you about muscle loss. It's not linear. You don't lose the same amount each year. The rate actually accelerates as you get older. Think of it like a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's small and slow. But the longer it rolls, the bigger it gets, and the faster it moves. Eventually, it becomes an avalanche. That's what happens with sarcopenia. The muscle you lose this year makes you weaker, which means you move less, which means you lose more muscle next year. It's a vicious cycle that feeds on itself. But here's the good news. The reverse is also true. Tana, the muscle you build this month makes you stronger, which means you move more, which means you build even more muscle. Tana, it becomes a positive cycle that compounds over time. The question is, which cycle do you want to be in? Let me ask you something. Have you noticed any of these warning signs in the past year? It takes longer to get up from a low chair. You feel winded after climbing one flight of stairs. Your grip isn't as strong as it used to be. You've had any close calls with balance or falling. People have commented that you seem to be moving slower. If you answered yes to even one of these, your body is sending you a message. It's telling you that muscle loss is already happening. The question is, are you going to listen? Let me paint a picture of what happens if you do nothing. I don't want to scare you, but I want you to understand what's at stake. Muscle loss leads to falls. Falls lead to fractures. Fractures lead to hospitals. Hospitals lead to further muscle loss. It's a downward spiral that's hard to escape once it starts. The average cost of a hip fracture, $40,000. The average recovery time, 6 months, if you're lucky. And here's the statistic that breaks my heart. 20% of seniors who break a hip never return to their previous level of independence, but a month's supply of leucine powder, less than $30. I'm not trying to sell you fear, okay? I'm trying to help you see that taking action now isn't just about feeling better. It's about staying independent. It's about continuing to live life on your terms, okay? In the past 2 years, I've put over 200 patients on this leucine coffee protocol. The results have been remarkable. 87% report increased energy within 2 weeks. 78% notice improved strength within a month, minus 65%. Say they feel more confident in their balance. 92% continue the protocol after 6 months. But the statistic that means the most to me: 0 falls among my patients who've been consistent with this protocol for more than 3 months. 0. Compare that to the national average, where 1 in 4 seniors falls each year. And you can see why I'm so passionate about getting this information out there. For those of you who want to maximize your results, let me share some advanced strategies. First, timing matters more than you think. The leucine signal lasts about 3 hours. Some of my patients take a second, smaller dose, about 30 minutes before lunch, to keep the signal active. Second, don't forget about vitamin D. Low vitamin D levels can block muscle protein synthesis, even if everything else is perfect. I recommend getting tested and supplementing if you're below 30 ng per milliliter. Third, add some resistance. You don't need a gym membership. Even 5 minutes of resistance band exercises or wall push-ups after your leucine coffee can amplify the muscle building signal by 40%. Here's what I love about this approach. It creates what I call a strength spiral. When you feel stronger, you move more. When you move more, you build more muscle. When you build more muscle, you feel more confident. When you feel more confident, you try new things. I had a patient named Harold who started this protocol because he was tired of feeling weak. 6 months later, he joined a hiking club. A year later, he was leading hikes for other seniors. Harold didn't just get his strength back, he got his identity back. He went from being the guy who needs help to being the guy who helps others. That's the real power of this approach. It doesn't just change your body, it changes how you see yourself and how the world sees you. Let me address the concerns I hear most often. Dr. Mitchell, I've tried supplements before and nothing worked. This isn't just another supplement. This is a targeted intervention based on your body's specific biology. It's like the difference between using a key and trying to break down a door. What if I have kidney problems? Pure leucine is actually easier on your kidneys than most protein sources because it does unproduce nitrogen waste. But always check with your doctor first. How do I know if it's working? Most people feel increased energy within a week. Strength improvements show up within 2 to 3 weeks, but the real test is functional. Can you get up from a chair easier? Do stairs feel less challenging? Let's talk about return on investment. The average American over 65 spends $18,424 per year on healthcare. Much of this goes toward treating the consequences of muscle loss, falls, fractures, metabolic issues. A year's supply of leucine costs about $360. That's less than most people spend on coffee in 2 months. But think about what you're really investing in. Years of maintained independence, confidence in your physical abilities, freedom from the fear of falling, the ability to keep doing what you love. Can you put a price on that? Here's something most people don't know. High-quality leucine isn't as common as you might think. It's pharmaceutical-grade stuff. The kind used in the studies I've mentioned is produced by only a handful of manufacturers worldwide. And with more doctors discovering this research, demand is increasing faster than supply. I've already had several patients tell me their usual supplier was temporarily out of stock. I'm not trying to create false urgency, but I am saying this. If you're going to try this approach, don't wait. Get your leucine ordered today so you can start tomorrow morning. Here's what I want you to do. Commit to this protocol for just 30 days. That's all I'm asking. It's 30 mornings of adding leucine to your coffee. If after 30 days you don't feel stronger, more energetic, or more confident in your physical abilities, then this approach isn't for you. But if you do feel better, and I believe you will, then you'll have discovered something that could transform the next 20 years of your life. Think about where you want to be a year from now. Do you want to be weaker than you are today, dependent on others for basic tasks? Or do you want to be stronger, more confident, maybe even trying things you thought were impossible? The choice you make right now, in the next few minutes after watching this video, could determine which path you take. Let me leave you with one final story. Arthur is 82 years old. When I first met him 3 years ago, he was using a walker and considering moving to assisted living. His family was worried he couldn't live safely alone anymore. Today, Arthur volunteers at a food bank 3 days a week, lifting boxes and organizing supplies. Last month, he took his great-grandson fishing. Next month, he's planning a trip to visit his sister in Colorado. Arthur uses this leucine coffee protocol every single morning without fail. He also does 10 minutes of resistance exercises and takes a daily walk. But it all started with that first morning when he decided to fight back against muscle loss. Arthur told me recently, "Dr. Mitchell, I thought my strong days were behind me. Turns out, some of my strongest days were still ahead of me. Right now, you're at a crossroads. You can close this video and go back to accepting that weakness is inevitable. You can continue watching your independence slip away one day at a time. You can keep hoping that tomorrow will somehow be different than today. Or you can decide that today is the day you fight back. Today is the day you take control. Today is the day you start rebuilding the strength you thought was gone forever. I can't make this decision for you, I can tell you this, in 30 years of treating patients, I've never had anyone regret getting stronger. But I've had hundreds regret waiting too long to start. The leucine is available. The protocol is simple. The only question is, will you take action? Here's my promise to you. If you commit to this protocol for 30 consecutive days, you will notice a difference. You might feel it in your energy levels. You might notice it when you get up from a chair. You might see it in how you move through your day. And if you stick with it for 90 days, people will start asking what you're doing differently. They'll notice you standing taller, moving with more confidence, engaging with life in a way you haven't in years. This isn't just about adding something to your coffee. It's about adding strength to your body, confidence to your mind, and years to your active life. It's the muscle you save today is the independence you keep tomorrow. The strength you build this month is the freedom you maintain next year. If this video has opened your eyes to what's possible, I need you to take action right now. First, hit that like button to help other seniors find this life-changing information. Second, subscribe to this channel and ring the notification bell. Share practical, science-based strategies for healthy aging every week. Third, and most importantly, order your leucine powder today. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until next week. Your muscles are losing strength every single day you delay. Fourth, start tomorrow morning. Add 3 grams to your coffee and begin the journey back to strength. You don't have to accept weakness as your destiny. You don't have to resign yourself to getting frailer every year. You have more control over your aging than you've been told. It's that simple cup of coffee every morning, enhanced with leucine. K could be the tool that helps you stay strong, stay independent, and stay yourself for decades to come. Your muscles are waiting for the signal. Your body is ready to respond. The only thing standing between you and renewed strength is the decision to start. Make that decision today. Your future self is counting on it. This is Dr. John Mitchell. Start tomorrow morning. And I'll see you in the next video, where I'll show you the 3 exercises that tripled the effectiveness of leucine supplementation. Till then, stay strong, stay hopeful, and remember, it's never too late to get your strength back.